We are live. We are live. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm really excited that you're here today. Today is a big day. Today, today I'm going to be talking about my birth story with my firstborn baby. So, if you do hear him kind of like crying or cooing, I do apologize. Kind of, not really. Because he's really cute when he like goes, oh. It's cute. But he's literally like just laying on me right now. So I have him nice and close. Hopefully he takes a little nap here. And also, hopefully I can get through this video without crying or anything because you're in for quite a emotional roller coaster. So just a little bit of background information. If you are new here, hello, my name is Keelan. I am a professional videographer and stay-at-home mama and creative person who is just really getting back into the swing of YouTube filming. I don't know what this channel really is going to progress into. However, I just want to upload content and get my story out there regarding motherhood and of course having a baby. So I know that I really would have appreciated a video like this when I was going through that transitional phase of, you know, I'm in my third trimester and now I have to start mentally preparing to have a baby. That was always something that was really scary to me and actually kind of, I wouldn't say held me back from having kids, but was always in the back of my mind thinking, oh my God, how am I going to do that? It seems like such a traumatic experience that so many women go through. And I just want to say that it was completely oh my God, it was like life altering. It was such an experience. And I want to share my positive birth story with people. So if you are here to just listen to the story, that's great. I'm glad you're here. But if you also want to subscribe for just more mom related content, artist content, creative content, vlogging content, whatever, like I said, this video. Oh, he's coughing. Whatever whatever this channel really entails. I'm not too sure where I'm going to go with it in the future, but regardless, I'm glad you're here, and yeah, we'll get to the story now. He's so cute. He's just so cuddly. Hi, honey. All right, so getting right into the story. So, I had little baby here at pretty much 38 weeks pregnant. So back when I had originally found out that I was expecting, I had my due date being June 21st. And for, you know, like throughout the duration of my pregnancy, I always felt like I was a little bit further along than what the ultrasound tech had let me know. Also, you know, what my OB had said. I just had a gut feeling I was a little further along than what, you know, my original due date was. So when I found out I was pregnant, I went in and they had my original due date as July 6th. However, like I said previously, little man here was born June 21st. So that was at 38 weeks pregnant. Pretty much I was 38 weeks. And it was a whirlwind. So I woke up the morning of that Saturday, and my husband had actually gone in for a call-in to work that day, just 12 minutes out of town here. And I was making breakfast, I was getting ready for the day. You know, I was a little bit slower moving because when you are in your third trimester, you know, you just don't move as fast, okay? So I was making my cup of raspberry leaf tea, which I loved, by the way. It was so good. I don't know why people complain about it. I actually really liked it. So I was drinking that, making my eggs, and had to go to the washroom. So Went to the washroom. Sorry, also a little of this might be TMI, but I don't really care because you're here for the positive birth story. So, went to the washroom and I don't know, I sat on the toilet and I had diarrhea and I was just like, okay, that's weird because I haven't like ate anything really yet. I hadn't had anything in my system yet. So I was like, okay, that's kind of a little weird that I felt like that. I got up off the toilet and lo and behold, I had like this gush come out of me. And at first, I like literally was in denial. I was like, "Oh, that was just pee." Like, I'm in my third trimester, everything feels heavy down there. It was just pee. It was not pee. It definitely was not pee. Okay? I was in such denial. And I remember thinking, okay, that was a lot. So I got up off the toilet and I just kind of stood in the bathroom. I didn't go in the bathtub. I definitely should have went in the bathtub, but I didn't. I literally stood over my rug in my bathroom and lo and behold, another gush fell out of me. And then at that point, I remember looking in the mirror and being like, I need to go get my phone because I need to record just kind of what's happening. So I got my phone. I recorded, what the time was. It was approximately like 10:30ish when my water broke. And it just kind of kept coming out of me. Like for the next like hour, I was at home. I was mopping the floor, okay, in the kitchen because I was still in denial. I was like, no, I'm going to make myself my tea. I'm going to, start making myself some breakfast and just get ready for my day. Well, it literally kept coming out of me. Went downstairs, got the mop, came back upstairs, mopped the floor, okay, had the fan, and James came home. And I just kind of remember looking at him and being like, yeah, so I think we need to go to the hospital because I'm pretty sure my water broke. And the look on his face, you guys, it was like just blank. And I could tell he was like, oh my God, today's going to be the day. And in my mind, I was like, today's going to be the day. Today is literally going to be the day. I have nothing ready. Okay, we're getting into it now. Nothing ready. So James and I, we literally just grabbed the essentials. I grabbed my wallet. I grabbed my health card. I grabbed just a few essentials that I thought I would need because God forbid I'm going to be at the hospital now. And we go to the hospital. We go to the ER and they admit us right up to the maternity women's health ward in the hospital. So went into the room and she checked to see, for one, if my water had broke, and then two, how dilated I was. So went in there, sat down, was starting to get a little uncomfortable, not gonna lie. I was like, I'm getting a little uncomfy here. And she checked to see my water had broke. And then I want to say 2 centimeters dilated. Dang, I cannot completely remember how far it was. I want to say it was 2. So I remember looking at her and being like, okay, do you mind if we go back to the house? Because at this point, you guys, I literally had nothing packed, okay? James and I had just set up the crib like 3 days prior upstairs. Thank God we had a bassinet. Thank God I had my baby shower like literally the week before. So I felt like, okay, at least we have some stuff because it was so overwhelming. And I just remember being more, not panicked, but just more overwhelmed at the fact that we hadn't prepared really. Not the fact that I was actually like going to have a baby that day. So she was kind enough. She let us go back. My contractions weren't really bugging me too much at this point. And I was just like, we literally live right down the road from the hospital. We'll be right back, like maximum within an hour, because like I said, we didn't have anything packed. So we really need to just like throw a bunch of stuff together in a bag, essentially. Long story short, they let us leave the hospital. We went back, we grabbed the stuff that we needed, and at that point, I remember being like a little short with James because I could start feeling like, I wouldn't say like I could feel like, oh, this is a contraction. It was more of the sense that I was feeling like sick and I was feeling uncomfortable. Like I just remember being like, oh my God, am I gonna puke? I feel like I'm gonna puke. I feel like I need to piss or like poop or something, use the bathroom, but it's like my body was just kind of confused and trying to figure out what was going on. And I was like, man, I'm just very uncomfortable. I feel sick. So I just let James like kind of throw stuff together. And I remember he was asking me certain things and I was just like, James, like, I'm sorry. I can't talk to you really right now because I'm trying to focus on whatever the heck is going on in my body right now. And it's a little overwhelming, you asking me all these questions. So he got it figured out somehow, some way. And we get back into the vehicle to go back to the hospital. And James was just like, well, you can't sit in the back of the truck. And I said, I can't sit down right now. Like I literally cannot sit down in the passenger side or the passenger seat of the truck. So I was on all hands, or I was on all fours, all hands. I was on all fours in the back of the truck while we went back to the hospital. And this is where things kind of started to ramp up. Hi, buddy. Yeah, hi, buddy. So we get to the hospital and James contacts my mom. He contacts my sister and it's basically like, hey guys, just letting you know, Keelan's going into labor. We're at the hospital and, we're going to be having a baby today. Exciting stuff. My sister, I knew she would like already be crying. She texted, she's like, okay, I'm on my way. My mom texted the same thing saying, I'm on my way. I'm just leaving right now type thing. And oh my, that is, yeah, I just remember being in the hospital and the nurse was asking me, questions regarding paperwork and everything. And I was like, okay, like I can handle this right now. And I just remember looking at her and saying, I feel like kind of sick. Like I feel like I'm gonna puke. And the nurse was just like, don't worry, it's a normal thing. When the cervix, I don't know, or uterus, I don't know the correct, proper, whatever, starts dilating, I guess that can happen to a lot of women. So I was just kind of focusing on like not puking and not being sick. And she's asking me these questions. We're like, okay, yep. And then we just really hung around and waited while I was going into labor. And let me tell you guys, I went somewhere else, okay? I don't know what it was, but during the transitional period of labor, I just completely feel like I went somewhere else and I started making these like meditating noises like that's what I was doing, and I'll like insert some videos and stuff. And I really found that helped me just kind of relax. And I remember too, before I went into labor, I was doing lots of research and just like hypnobirthing, but I didn't even really look too far into it. I was just like, oh, okay, this is something I should look into when the time comes, right? And I must have been doing something along those lines because, yeah, I was like humming and closing my eyes and I was trying to relax my face, keep my face relaxed and not my jaw so tight. So started progressing more and more, kept doing those meditative, like trances, sounds, I guess, humming sounds to calm myself. And the nurse came back in. She checked me. I was at 4 centimeters dilated, so I was progressing. And at this time, too, my sister and I want to say my mom was just about there as well. So it would have been around probably 3 o'clock, I want to say 3 o'clock. And my water had broke at like 10 a.m. that morning. So this is around 3 o'clock in the afternoon now. So the nurse suggested that, why don't you try and go in the bath, relax your body, because I was having a very hard time laying down. I couldn't lay down. And I remember being on all fours on the bed, and I was like shaking. Like I was like my body was vibrating, like shaking. And so looked at her, I was like, okay, you're right. You've done this before. You know what you're talking about. You're a professional. You're a nurse. You work with women all the time. And I went into the bath. And that was like probably the best thing I could have done, because I could just feel my body completely relaxing. And I was like, okay, this is nice. And poor James, because I know it was hot in that room because we had the door closed. I know it was hot in that room. And I was just meditating, and I kept telling James, I am strong. I can do anything for a minute. I am strong. I am strong. My body was meant to do this. I literally was saying these things, and it's crazy because I don't remember really saying a lot of that. I can do anything for a minute. Yeah, you're doing great. I can do anything for a minute. Anything for a minute. Right. Yeah, you're doing great. You got this. It's no big deal. You've been doing great. Kicking butt. So I'm sitting in the tub, and all of a sudden I start to feel like my body not convulse, but like contract, and feel like it wanted to like push something out of my body. It was the craziest experience ever. It was nuts. When when some women say that your body will literally push for you, I 100% can see that. 100% can see that, okay? Because my body started making like those muscle contractions, and the nurse came in, okay? She comes in and she said, okay, you've been in the bathroom for a while, it would have been about like 40-ish an hour at that point, maybe just over an hour. And she was just checking on me. And she says, why don't we get you out of the tub? Because she knew what was happening. She knew what was going on. And she wanted to check how far I was dilated again. And I was like, okay, you're right. So it took me probably a solid like 20 to like 30 minutes to get out of the tub, just because I really truly couldn't move too fast. I felt sick, and then I could feel my body was like tensing, and like, there was that weird feeling. So James and I, we eventually make our way back to the bed where I lay down and, well, tried to lay down for her to check me. And I just remember being like, oh, can you like check me on all fours? Like, I feel like I can't really lay on my back. So she said, okay, well, just wait. Just, take your time. There's no rush. And at one point too, she did actually say, she's like, man, for someone being in labor, you seem so zen. And it was kind of funny because I agreed. I was pretty zen considering how far I was in my labor already at that point. I don't know. It's just the humming and the hypnobirthing really was a game changer. It really helped. And so anyways, eventually I was able to get on my back. And at that point, I remember looking at James, okay? And she's checking me. She's like, you're 8 centimeters dilated. Okay, that's good news. So within the time frame that I was in the tub, like an hour and a half, I went from like 4 centimeters to 8 centimeters. So that really helped just like relax my body even more, like my lower body especially. and that was great. So I'm looking at James, and the pain, okay, the pain was at about an 8. Literally, I was dilated at an 8, and the pain was about at an 8. Okay, I'm looking at James, and I'm thinking, okay, an epidural. I'm thinking this in my head. An epidural is like literally now or never. Otherwise, I'm gonna miss my window to get one. So I start talking to the nurse, and we start going over, epidurals. And she just basically said, you are far along now. So there is a possibility that we get the anesthesiologist in here and the epidural doesn't really take effect. It doesn't really help. But she said, obviously, we'll call him in. If you want that, we will definitely get that arranged for you. She also recommended laughing gas. And it was so crazy because I remember looking at her when she was saying this and looking at James. And then there was a moment where I feel like they made eye contact. And all of a sudden, I was like, nope, I don't have time. My baby is coming right now. And as soon as they made eye contact, I remember being on the bed, laying down, and my body started to push. I'm not even kidding you. It started to push. So let's just say that I did not have time for any medical intervention when it came to having an epidural, laughing gas. I did not have any time. Like, it's a good thing they put in the IV when they did, because I don't even think they would have had time to have done that. But she did that kind of right away when I was admitted, which was good. So yeah, my body literally started pushing a baby. She calls in the other nurse. The nurse looks at me and says, you know what? If the doctor doesn't make it here in time, I've delivered babies before. You're in good hands with us. Don't worry, type thing. And honestly, I knew I was in good hands because this nurse she was great. And also too, she was young. She was probably like my age. And it was just, the experience was just incredible. The staff was incredible. I had such a good experience in the hospital with them. It was great. And she obviously knew her stuff. She has done this many of times before. So they call the doctor because also my OB, okay guys, my OB actually was away at a convention that week. So my checkup appointment had been canceled earlier that week because he was gone. So I even remember laughing, being, ha, wouldn't it be funny if I had a baby this week and my OB isn't here? Which is exactly what happened, okay? So they call the doc that's on call. He comes in. He's like, sorry, excuse my language. He's fucking chill, okay? He's the most chillest person. And I'm like, this is the perfect person to have as a delivery doctor, okay? Perfect. He was perfect. So yeah, my body started doing its thing. I had no time for any type of medical intervention. I had no time for any drugs or anything. But at that point, it was just like the pain was like the pain, but it was more the feeling of it being super uncomfortable. And they get everything ready for me to start pushing. They put the stirrups up and everything, and I am on my back at this point, which I really didn't want to be on my back, but whatever. Can't change everything, or you can't control everything. They had the heart rate monitor on my belly, and like that even kind of hurt too because it was on so tight, and they wanted to monitor the baby's heartbeat, right? So that was on really tight, and I even at one point looked at the nurse and said, hey, do you mind? Can you like loosen this up? It's pretty tight on my belly. And she did. She was fine. So start pushing. Doctor's like, okay, push, push, push. And at that point too, he was stretching my perineal. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I'm sorry. But okay, when I say that hurt, okay, that hurt more than like my contractions. And I'm not even kidding you. It was the weirdest thing. It was just like, okay, can you just relax a little bit? Like, if I tear, I'm gonna tear, okay? I'm gonna tear at this point. So he's okay. So I'm pushing, and I'm doing 3 pushes for like 10 seconds, and then they're like tricking me, being like, hey, do 1 more push for 10 seconds. And I'm like, oh my gosh. The one nurse is telling me to like push down, and that's something that I definitely feel like I should have maybe done a little bit more research, because throughout my pregnancy, unfortunately, I did have hemorrhoids. So when I went into labor, I was really pushing like I had to poop, honestly. And that probably wasn't the best. And I could just feel like, oh, my butt, like my ass hurt from doing that. And it was a workout, you guys. Like, I pushed for just over an hour. And at one point, I remember looking at my husband and being like, James, I need something to eat, man. I'm like, I'm hungry. This is exhausting. This is literally exhausting. Like, thank God I only pushed for just over an hour. I've heard of women pushing for like 3+ hours. I don't know how you guys do that without having a meal. Like, I'm dead serious. I was so hungry, and I was just like, and I was sweating on top of that. And, James is bringing me water, but like, obviously there's only so much water can do for you at this point. And I just remember being like, oh my God, this is exhausting and like uncomfortable. And the doctor is like stretching out my like perineal area, excuse me. And it just like, yeah, it just was a crazy experience. And then throughout this entire time, I'm still humming. I'm still like, I am strong. I was meant to do this. My body can do this. I trust my body. I'm going to meet my baby. And when it started getting to the point where I was like, oh my God, I'm going to meet my son, I started getting so emotional. And just like, I remember looking at my mom, crying, looking at James, crying. I was just like, oh my God, we're going to meet our son. This is so exciting. And the doctor actually even told me, he's just like, you've been pushing. Do you want to feel his head? And I said, yeah, I want to feel his head. So I went down and I literally felt my son's head. It was just so crazy. It was so crazy. So continue doing that. And I will say I should get brownie points because I made the doctor laugh, because at one point throughout my labor when I was pushing, I literally said July 6th, my ass, meaning like, yeah, right. I knew I was going to have my baby early, and my July 6th due date was like not a real thing. I thought I had more time. I definitely did not. And I made him laugh, and I think I even made some of the nurses laugh, but whatever. At that point, you're kind of like delirious, and you're just like, oh my God. So yeah, that went on for about, oh my God, like I said, just over an hour. And then finally, when he came out, like, I didn't feel anything. The doctor did ask if I wanted an episiotomy. I declined. I said, nope, I don't want to have an episiotomy. If I rip, I rip. It is what it is type thing. So when he came out, apparently, I can't remember this, but apparently he was face up. So they think that may have been a reason why my labor was a little bit longer as well. Because just he was facing sunny side up, so his head was like looking up. And my mom said that when he came out, the doctor was like, oh, he's looking at me. And I thought that was funny. But also too, when he came out, he apparently had the cord wrapped around his neck, and the doctor went right away, undid it, handed him to the nurse, and the nurse immediately put him on me and was like rubbing like vigorously on our baby. And I just remember being like, oh my God, thank God that's over. Wow, this is such an experience. And oh my gosh, we have a son, we have a baby, but he's not making a noise. And that wasn't in my mind at that point, but I know you know, after the fact, James was very much like, I was very worried that, you know, you had just went through this and our baby was deceased. But he was fine. He was fine. He cried, he wailed, and that was all good. The nurse then took him off my chest. James cut the umbilical cord. I didn't see that. I was still too out of it. And I was crying and I was thanking everyone in the room. And I was so excited that, you know, I finally did it. I was so scared of having a baby. And I finally did it. I had a baby, you guys. But took the little man over, weighed him, got all of his measurements and everything, and it turned out he was 8 pounds and 9 ounces. So he was a decent sized baby for being 2 weeks early. Early, I still think that was his original due date. But yeah, that was quite the experience, and I just remember being like, wow, what an experience. So we have a baby. I have a baby. I have a baby boy, and he's just kind of laying right now beside me, but I can kind of show you guys the back of his head and show you him. He's so cute. Oh yeah, buddy. Oh yeah, come here. It's a little hot in our house too. So this is Bruce, little Brucey. I call him Brucey Baby. He's such a great baby. He's been such a awesome addition to our lives. I'm so happy that I'm a mom. It's like crazy to think I'm a mom. But little Bruce is now just over a month old, and we're doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. I am just thrilled about being a mom, and it's such an experience. And I had such a positive experience, you guys, with my birth. I pretty much had the birth that I envisioned, and it was such a life transformative experience that, like, I could cry. It was just insane. But we have a baby, and he's gonna get grouchy, so I'm just gonna put him back here. It's okay, buddy. It's okay. I love you. I do have to feed him here soon, so he's probably why he's getting a little grouchy. Hey, honey? Yeah. Oh, okay. Hi. So that is my birth story. I want to say I got everything, but I probably missed a few things. Yeah, I'm so in love, and I really hope that this positive story maybe puts you at ease if you yourself, if you're pregnant, you're in your 3rd trimester, you're getting ready to hunker down. Just know that things will happen how they happen. My story was very positive. I had a very great experience from the staff, from the hospital itself. It was clean. It was tidy. You know, they were so accommodating. The food was good. The staff, like I said, was amazing. It was an incredible experience, and we have a little baby now. They definitely took really good care of us at the hospital, and yeah, it was an incredible experience. And if this helps you, you know, maybe put you at ease a little bit during your last few days, just know that the experience is life-changing no matter what happens, and I really hope that you have a happy, healthy baby and a safe and sound delivery. That's the main goal at the end of the day. Is we definitely want mama to be, you know, safe and happy, and yeah, it's just an experience. So anyways, guys, I am going to sign off. I'm going to feed my little dude, and yeah, we will see you in another video. He's really hungry. We'll see you in another video. Bye, guys.